Hello Guardians, it is Ebontis here, and hopefully this will serve as your ultimate Witch Queen prep guide. There are things that are going to be leaving the game. There's going to be some weapons that may be harder to get a hold of, some mods that you may not be able to get access to quite as easily. Things are going to be substantially changing with Witch Queen, and hopefully with this guide you can be as prepared as you want to be. You can do none of this stuff, you can do all of this stuff, but with 5 weeks in advance you should have enough time to do everything in this list if you want to, or none of it if you prefer. But before we get into it, a word from me, because this video is sponsored literally by me. And by me, I mean I actually get to drop my first piece of merch, and this is my Ebontis Ice Shaker. It's going to be on sale for 4 days from when this launches, so from January 18th to January 22nd, from 12 p.m. Pacific to 12 p.m. Pacific, you got 4 days, basically 96 hours. You guys will notice it's got Ebontis on this thing. They laser etched it in there, but it's got a unique logo. This is kind of the aggressive logo I had designed at the same time as mine was designed, but basically nothing else has this logo on it, so it's a little bit of an exclusive. And also, if you're wondering what the ice shaker is, it's a nice stainless steel insulated water bottle. You guys can see that we've got like measurement markers in there if you need those. Also on the top, you've got a detachable blender attachment, whether it's for protein powder, whether it's for advanced UG, anything you want in there. It also can work like a filter if you're going to put some fruit in there as well. And honestly, it's just, I have about 3 of these that I rotate between. I use it all the time. So if you guys do want to pick one of these up, it's a nice way to support me. You can get 10% off at checkout with code Ebontis. Link will be below in the description. And honestly, if you want to own my first piece of merch, you got 4 days to pick one up. So if you guys have any questions, I will be answering basically any question in the comment below about this or Advanced UG. And hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Let's get back to it. So the topics in this video that I want to cover are going to be as follows. Things that are going to be leaving the game, therefore you will not have access to them, whether it be destinations, quests, campaigns, stories, things of that nature. Weapons that would be worth grinding for, whether it be exotics, catalysts, things that are going to be good for champions, what to spend your Umbral Engrams on. I've done a different video on that, but we have some new information, couple shoutouts I want to give there. Materials. What you should be grinding for so you're stocked up and supplied, because we don't know what's going to be involved in weapon crafting, if armor is going to be unique, and anything that we need for all of the new grinds that Witch Queen and probably some new systems are going to offer. We're going to touch on basically a couple things that you can grind out, like seasonal challenges and catalyst, while you're doing all these other things to get you a little bit of a benefit. There's one thing on Bungie.net that you should be checking out. And then finally, the discussion on bounties and anything that you should be holding on to, and obviously the risk that comes with those. So let's start with what is leaving the game when Witch Queen launches. So the biggest thing that is leaving the game is the Tangled Shore destination, and going with it is the Forsaken campaign. It's something I highly recommend playing. One of the cooler campaigns Destiny 2 has had. Hopefully Witch Queen lives up to this and the Taken King. Those are some of the 2 best expansions we've had so far. Witch Queen hopefully is like right there in that echelon, but the Forsaken campaign is worth experiencing. If you have been playing, if you want to jump in and see what Destiny storytelling can be like, this is one of those that you're going to want to experience. So please don't miss this. It's literally free to everybody. Play this thing. It's worth playing right now because you don't have to buy anything. It's free. So the other main pieces that are going to be leaving with the Tangled Shore are exotic weapons. There are 3 of them, and they are going to be as follows. At Spider, he sells wanted bounties. To be able to buy the wanted bounties, you either have to do like patrols, public events, lost sectors, basically some certain things to get the currency to buy the wanted bounties. And then at some point when you do the wanted bounties, which is usually go to another destination, kill somebody in a lost sector, pretty straightforward stuff, just, you know, Google them if you need them. Do enough wanted bounties, you're going to get the Lord of Wolves exotic shotgun 2-drop, and it is one of those you probably should have to, for one, complete your collection. If shotguns kind of get a really good heyday, it has some potential to be very powerful. So Lord of Wolves is definitely worth getting, especially if you're working through the Tangled Shore. Pay attention and just try and focus on always be working on a wanted bounty kind of in the background. Take a little time, go knock another one out so you can try and get that exotic. The next exotic is going to be through the exotic quest Presage. Now, this does require ownership of the Season of the Chosen. If you don't own Season of the Chosen, whether it's the season itself, if you didn't buy the deluxe expansion and you're just looking at, like, you know, getting into the game for free right now, the only way to get this season, you can't go back and buy a specific season right now, is to buy the deluxe edition, which is going to be Beyond Light and then the seasons that come with it. But most of the content for those seasons is going to be leaving in 5 weeks. So spending the full $80 is not worth it. Unfortunately, if you do find it on sale and then you could have everything and knock it out in 3 weeks, $30 for everything that you're going to get. Yeah, that's probably worth it. $80 for content that's going to be kind of expiring in 5 weeks, I would, that's up to you. But if you live in it 5 weeks, maybe it's worth it to you if you're really diving in. But most people would probably say that it's not. But the exotic that comes in here is the Dead Man's Tale. And this exotic does have random rolls. So you can actually run this mission once a week for the next 5 weeks, and you can get 5 different rolls on this exotic. There's only 2 exotics like this, and the other one, just like it, is leaving as well, that has random rolls. But again, we don't know when you're going to be able to get the exotic in the future. The Catalyst, you can do this mission on Master difficulty and get the Catalyst to drop, and the Catalyst makes the gun even better. So I suggest finishing this on normal difficulty, and then if you can get a group together, if you already have a group, then turn around and do it on Master difficulty. At the level we're at now, if you're at kind of max level for the season, it's not too bad on Master. If you get a couple friends, that can probably take you through it. But do it once to get the weapon, do it another time to get the Catalyst, so you can have that unlocked, because this mission is leaving the game, and we don't know how you're going to get the weapon or the Catalyst in the future. So if you have Season of the Chosen, if you have Deluxe, this is one you can get. If you don't find it on sale, I probably wouldn't spend the $80 for these couple exotics that I'm going to mention to you. So keep that in mind. A couple of these will require some expansions, hence the big caveat on this one. Another thing that's available that starts on the Tangled Shore, but I think you're going to have to finish the complete quest before Witch Queen comes out, is going to be the Wish Ender Bow. Now, it's a unique bow because it has like piercing. It's a long draw time, high damage, not quite like the heavy weapon bow, but it is a higher damage bow. Now, we don't have a catalyst for it right now. If they do give us a catalyst for this weapon, maybe it will be better later. Right now, it's not really like breaking any metas or topping any charts, but if it is one of those, like when Trinity Ghoul got a catalyst, it was amazing. So if Wish Ender does that, it would be cool as well. It starts kind of, I think, right here in this area in Four-Horn Gulch, where my little cursor's at. And it's usually, you'll kind of run around to like one of the little gazebos in this area, and you'll see this little like icon. It's basically 3 questions. That's the start of that mission. And then the rest of it's going to take place in the Dreaming City and the Shattered Throne dungeon. Now, again, to play the Dreaming City dungeon, you are going to need to own the Forsaken pack at this point, because the story is free. I don't know what the price of the Forsaken pack is, but if you do want to have access to the dungeon, want to have access to the raid, you may want to buy the Forsaken pack. I don't know what the price of that is. If somebody in the comments wants to tell me, that'd be cool. I don't know if it's 10, 20 bucks, whatever it is. It's literally like a dungeon and then a raid, I think, is all you're going to be buying at that point, and access to a few exotics. Either way, it has potential to be a good bow, so if you haven't finished that quest and you haven't got around to it, but you do own the, pieces of content that will give you access to it, then I highly suggest going after that bow as well, because again, you have 5 weeks, you've got time to spread this stuff out. So the next thing you're going to want to do is get rid of your Etheric Spirals, because when year 5 starts, we're going to lose all of the Etheric Spiral we have. Now, it's not that important, but you can actually convert it if you catch Spider on the right day. So what you're going to be looking for is, in his material exchange, you're going to want to see Glimmer being sold for Etheric Spirals down here, where it says Microphasic Data Lattice. You're going to want that to say Etheric Spiral 20 for 10,000 Glimmer. And then what you're going to need also on the other side is you're going to need another planetary material, one of these 4 over here, being sold for Glimmer. So basically, you dump Etheric Spirals in, max out your Glimmer, find the say it's, helium filaments is being sold for 5,000 Glimmer instead of legendary shards, buy up all the helium filaments until you're out of Glimmer, fill up on Glimmer, spend all the Glimmer, fill up on Glimmer, spend all the Glimmer, and then at some point, you're going to run out of those Etheric Spirals, and you're going to have a material that's going to carry on into year 5. So that is your goal. Get rid of your Etheric Spirals, check Spider every so often, and if Spider is doing this exchange, I'll post it on Twitter, and I'll probably do a YouTube short as well. So if you're not following me on one of those, make sure you do, because I will be checking this daily until this finally happens, so I can dump the 3,000 materials that I've got. So outside of the Tangled Shore, there is one other thing that is technically leaving that is kind of linked to that, initial stuff with Season of the Hunt, and that is Harbinger. This is a quest similar to Presage. It is a quest to get an exotic weapon. The weapon can have random rolls, and you can run this once a week per account. You can't run it once per character, I don't think. But you can run it once per account. And so you can get 5 different rolls on the Hawkmoon exotic. Now, I will say doing Presage solo on normal difficulty, it's doable. Takes some practice, but it's doable. Harbinger solo, for whatever reason, the boss rooms get a little crazy, so I recommend taking a group into this one. But Hawkmoon is still a very potent and powerful hand cannon. The damage when you finally proc the final bullet can be very potent in PvE, and PvP I've seen people do some crazy things. Either way, try and run this a couple of times if possible, because you are going to be able to get random rolls on this exotic. And again, this is one of those things that is just straight up leaving the game. We don't know how you're going to be able to acquire the exotic. We don't know if you're ever going to be able to get random rolls on it. And then the catalyst for this weapon, you have to do this exotic quest 3 different weeks. So you have to get the weapon first, turn back around and run it again, and then you're going to have to do it 3 different weeks. So now is the time to get cracking on this one and start working. And remember, depending on when you see this thing, you have 5 weeks from when this video comes out. If you're seeing on this with like 3 weeks to go, now is the time to start this one. You can almost take more time to wait on Presage, but this one, there's a timer to make sure you can get that catalyst. So get started on this one as well, because it leaves with Witch Queen 2. Outside of the Tangled Shore, the Forsaken campaign, and any exotic quests related to that on the director, most of the stuff is going to be leaving related to this year's seasons. Season of the Hunt is mostly the Tangled Shore, but Season of the Chosen, Season of the Splicer, and Season of the Lost pretty much all took place right in here. And on top of that, you've got the Umbral decoder, which I think is likely to get replaced by weapon crafting. We don't know for sure, but like this stuff right here, the Umbral decoder and the Prismatic Recaster, are theoretically going to be gone when it comes to the launch of Witch Queen. So that makes me think weapon crafting is going to replace this method. But you've also got some stuff before I do a little recap of the Recaster that's going to be leaving. For Season of the Chosen, we did most of our interactions here at the War Table. And I think using this as like a holographic projector and a place to interact with NPCs for the story, that's probably going to stay. But with Season of the Chosen, we were also introduced to Elemental Well mods, and we got a few in the other seasons, which I'll touch on as well. As Charged with Light mods, especially like picking up an Orb of Light to get charged with light, Orb of Power, they changed the name, to get charged with light, as making orbs may be more difficult with the switches that we learned about recently. We don't know all the information, but it could be a thing. Still, I'm wondering if Bungie is pushing away from the Charged with Light mods towards like the Elemental Well style builds, because a lot of those tend to focus on elements matching your subclass, matching your weapons, like using all the same damage type is something I feel like they're leaning into in some of the new exotics we've seen it and some of the new builds, and Elemental Wells seem to be going that way as well. So they may be pushing us this direction and, you know, on the other side, slightly nerfing the other stuff to also push us this direction. So getting all of the Elemental Well mods is probably one of the most important things in the H.E.L.M. So for Season of the Chosen, you've got these two at the War Table, and I think they went through a rotation, like kind of on a weekly basis. So every week, check and see if you've got new ones. Make sure you can unlock those. Now let me go to the Servitor for Season of the Splicer. And the same thing is going to apply here. You've got all of these Elemental Well mods that they opened up to really start to build out Elemental Wells. And I think it took them the whole year to try and get us some mods, and there may be more coming in Witch Queen, but you've got 7 of them right here that I highly suggest unlocking, because when it comes to mods, right now you can either get them from Banshee, or you can get them from A-1, and it seems to be just a dice roll. So if you're trying to like complete your collection of mods, you never know when the next mod that you need is going to show up. Now, I would love them to change that and just get like a library of mods that you could work on grinding for and buying them all, but right now it seems to be RNG, so if that's the case, I would work on grinding for them now while you have direct access to them. Final one's over at the Compass. And you'll see basically again here, you've got Elemental Well mods. They introduced a couple for stasis, and since they're getting that element on armor, on a couple of weapons, a couple more mods, and there may be some others that rotate through here. So again, check these 3 locations in the H.E.L.M. on a weekly basis. See if there's any, mods that rotate through, especially at the War Table, and try and accumulate all of the Elemental Well mods so you have kind of the complete set for this year, so you're not waiting for random RNG roll of the dice mod to come through A-1 or Banshee. Get them now because you have direct access, because I think Bungie may be pushing us this direction, and they could make some really powerful builds depending on what mods they give us in the future as well. So as I said, the other thing that's leaving is all of the Umbral Engrams. It's been an interesting kind of year and a half, year and 18, 20 months or whatever that we've had Umbral Engrams. But I think they're going to deprecate Umbral Engrams, and they're going to kind of push us towards weapon crafting because I think they feel that that is going to be the future. That being said, you can use Umbral Engrams to have some direct farming now. Weapon crafting may be amazing, it may be tedious, we don't honestly know. But we do know right now Umbral Engrams can give you some focuses towards weapons that can help you build out a varied arsenal because you never quite know what you're going to need. And the easiest ones to work with right now are the ones in Season of the Lost. There are a couple honorable mentions in Splicer and Chosen. As for grinding for those, they're a bit more tedious, I'll be completely honest. They learned a little bit when it came to Season of the Lost because the currency that you need, the parallax trajectory, you get by doing basically everything. So grinding for all of these is a little bit easier. And where I would expect most of you to spend your time is going to be on the weapons here, 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 and here. Because you can get access to most of the weapons that you're going to theoretically want from previous seasons, outside of a couple, which I'll mention in a second. Tools of the Hunt. You've got Deafening Whisper, Friction Fire, and Blast Batu, which I still pronounce that grenade launcher wrong every time. Deafening Whisper, a Void Wave Frame Breach Load Special Grenade Launcher. Say that 3 times fast. Basically, it's the only weapon of its kind right now, so if you can get a couple of those, maybe you get a good roll, that's a good thing. Friction Fire. SMGs and auto rifles are going to be your overload weapons. I don't think anyone's excited about that, but they said they are working on the mechanics for it. So it is going to be a good idea to get some SMGs and some auto rifles that you're comfortable using because champions in any higher level activity, you're going to need those. So you've got an SMG Friction Fire, Breach Load Grenade Launcher, Deafening Whisper here that you're probably going to want to see how many rolls you can get. For Tools of the Chosen, you've got Extraordinary Rendition, which is another SMG. These are both kinetic SMGs, so, you know, find a good one between each of them. Far Future Sniper, I'm not too worried about that. And then Threaded Needle. Threaded Needle is still a very high potential DPS weapon. If you can get Frenzy on it, if you can get something like Rapid Hit, and then linear fusions have been bumped up a couple of times, and while Galahorn's still an epic rocket launcher, when it comes to a legendary weapon that you can hit crits on and you can get solid DPS from, linears have been bumped quite a bit, and I still think even if they get like one more little nudge maybe after particle deconstruction goes away, they're still going to be a good spot, and I think this is something you're going to want to have. So Extraordinary Rendition, like Subsistence and Frenzy, just sit there and mow down ads, and then linear fusion rifles, still probably going to be decent for DPS as like a backup legendary weapon. For Tools of the Splicer, you've got Chroma Rush. This is a good auto rifle, feels good to a lot of people. Mid to shorter range, it's a 720, so it's going to be a little faster firing, but good for clearing. Overloads, you can get a lot of bullets out a little quicker, so if you have to do, you know, repetitive hits on an overload champion, a little faster firing may be beneficial. And the Ignition Code is a kinetic grenade launcher, and there's not a lot of those, so try and get a couple decent rolls on that one. With regards to Tools of the Lost, there are 6 weapons in here. You've got the Cryosura Mellow auto rifle. It's a solar one, so if you need one of those, this is a place you can get one. The fusion rifle Iota Draconis, the grenade launcher Canis Major, shotgun Fractithist. You can get the Wolftone Draw Bow, and the Velpicula hand cannon. Now, Velpicula and Fractithist are stasis weapons. I would at least get one of those just so you have the few stasis weapons that we have in the game. There's not a lot of them, literally, like Reed's Regret from Trials, and these two, and I think now you can get Ias Luna from Grasp of Avarice. So there's not a ton. But I will tell you, Wolftone Draw, bows, and scout rifles are going to be your choice weapons for anti-barrier. So getting yourself a good Wolftone Draw bow is actually going to be beneficial. But you'll notice this costs 450 parallax trajectory. This one costs 150. This one down here costs 600, but you get a chance at double perks. But if you spend the 600 trajectory here, theoretically you could get 4 weapons here. So it depends on how many Umbrals you have. If you have like 3,000 parallax trajectory and you have like 4 Umbrals and you're like, I need to burn through some parallax, then I would spend a little bit down here once you've got it unlocked, because you get the chance at those double perks in the 3rd and 4th column. You don't always, but it's a good chance. Or I mean, it's a chance. Otherwise, if you've got more Umbrals and not as much parallax, you can get a lot of weapons here for very little parallax trajectory, and you can, you know, kind of work on getting a couple. The main priorities, as I said, get a decent shotgun because it's stasis, get a decent hand cannon because it's stasis unless you got an Ias Luna, and then also an arc bow from here. You've got a good set of perk combinations that you can get on the Wolf Tone draw. You've got, Archer's Tempo, you've got Adagio, you've got Frenzy. Just some good combinations that are going to be solid for DPS, and bows, and I said scout rifles, are going to be your weapons for anti-barrier, so having some reliable bows is going to be a good thing. That's your main stuff for Season of the Lost. Please do not get any armor at all. Do not go for armor pretty much ever from the Umbrals. The only armor that I would ever tell you to go for is in Season of the Splicer, if you have it, doing the tier 3 focusing down here. Don't do any other armor otherwise, and honestly, you've probably got better uses. But if you are going for high stat armor from an Umbral and you've got like nothing else to grind for, this is so bad. Couple honorable mentions in Splicer. One is going to be the Grid Skipper Pulse Rifle. Not a bad little pulse rifle here. Again, these do take decrypted data. And again, if you're going for weapons, you can get them here, and it's much cheaper. You're just going to get potentially all 6 instead of just 2. But again, using the cheaper option, still going to be a little more beneficial. Chroma Rush, that's an auto rifle. Again, you can get both of these from the Season of Lost Engram. It's easier. And then over here, you've got the Shattered Cipher, which is a void machine gun. There's not a ton of those in the game. There's one in Vault of Glass, but if you need a void heavy machine gun, it is a high RPM one, which I don't love, but if you need one as just like to complete a collection or whatever, doesn't hurt to get one. If you need swords, you've got the class-specific sword, the vortex frame, and the caster frame. If you need a couple different swords, again, just trying to get one of each of things, that's not a bad place to spend it. Future War Cult Armory, if you need an Arc Auto Rifle, if you need a Solar Scout Rifle. If you look through on these, you can actually preview them, so it's kind of nice. I haven't unlocked this one. I probably just literally need to go do a couple patrols or something. It's not that bad. But you'll notice you've got a couple other things that you can go for. This is just like Future War Cult, a little more specified. If you want Cartesian Coordinate, this is one of the few places you can actually go after this one. I think it was Banshee or Zur had a god roll on this previously, so if you missed it, I am sorry. But outside of that one, honorable mention, just the Grid Skipper's decent, and Void Machine Gun if you don't have one. Also, of course, swords. The final honorable mention for Season of the Chosen is going to be the Imperial Needle Bow. As I said, bows are going to be your champion weapons, and there's not a lot of void bows in the game. There's one void bow, and it's this. And then there's one solar bow, and it comes from the raid. I'm hoping they give us more options for these places where we have kind of lacking options for certain damage types. I'm hoping either weapon crafting fixes that, or we have options that come in Witch Queen. So hopefully some of these missing spots are taken care of, and hopefully you don't have to worry about it. But if you do want to go in and make sure, be like, hey, I've got a void bow, I've got an arc bow, solar bow, if you raid, that's just luck. So I don't know if I would go after that one. Hopefully they fix that one. But again, void bow here, Imperial Needle. This one actually is a good bow I do enjoy using. So that's kind of my one honorable mention from Season of the Chosen. But that's basically everything from the H.E.L.M that I would do. Try and get your Elemental Well mods, because I think Bungie might be pushing us that direction. And just having all the mods is always beneficial to mess around with builds. And then as you're grinding all the other stuff I'm talking about doing, you're going to be getting Umbral Engrams, so hopefully this tells you where to use them. There are a couple quick honorable mentions. If you're looking for Bright Dust, as in what you use to buy all of the cosmetics in the game, and you want to grind some out, if you're going to go hard for about 5 weeks, you can do a lot of these depending on how hard you grind, especially if you pay attention to use certain weapons in certain activities, mix up the subclass you use while you play Gambit. Like that, if you pay attention to what you need to grind, you can actually knock a lot of this stuff out. And if you're looking for Bright Dust, which allows you to buy cosmetics for no dollars, then this is a good way to do it. And if you can grind out a lot of it, it's a good way to get a nice accumulation of Bright Dust before we get to the next season. So seasonal challenges, if you got any left from previous seasons as well, I've got a couple that theoretically I could do here. Like I could go after some decrypted data if I wanted to knock something out. But outside of that, I've checked most of the boxes. But if you're looking for Bright Dust and you're playing this season, you've got a lot of stuff where you can get Bright Dust. So if you haven't done it yet and you want some of that before Witch Queen, now is your time to grind. Another quick random shout out, by the way, are exotic catalysts. There's some random exotic catalysts that I picked up that I haven't quite finished. So as you're working on doing all these bounties and different things across all these characters, like doing different activities, finishing bounties, as I said, quests and strikes, whatever it is, find a weapon. Maybe you've done them all, but maybe you haven't. Maybe there's a Gunsmith bounty. I need shotguns. Let me pull Duality out and get some kills with that. Maybe I'm doing Dares of Eternity grind, and I know I can get infinite ammo every time in that second phase of Dares. Well, guess what? Legend of Acreus, I can just run around and blow stuff up. Same thing with Leviathan's Breath. So if you have exotic catalyst you need to do, check and see if something you're working on. If I'm playing Crucible, I should just use Vigilance Wing till I finish this thing up, just to knock it out. That type of thing. Like, it's going to be a little easier to go through and do other activities and to just use a certain weapon, as opposed to take that weapon into, like, the Thrall Way or the Surochi checkpoint or anything that's just like that tedious grind where you're just shooting the same enemy for an hour just to do a catalyst. If you do it naturally, if you have a bunch of other stuff to do, you'll knock stuff out and you won't even know that it's done. So that's my recommendation. If you got a whole bunch of grinding to do, check your exotic catalyst, because I knocked a whole bunch out one day, but I did it the boring way, so I suggest not doing that. This is a bit of a different one. If you go to Bungie.net and you log into your character, and then it's going to say Season Progress, you're going to pull up a screen that looks like this. You can see Season of the Lost, you got a month remaining, and you can look through and see. I haven't picked up all of my Ascendant Shards, as I'm stacked on them right now. That is one of those things that I'm kind of holding on to, because what you can do later on is you can actually access this website, and you can check a previous season from the current season. So when we're in Witch Queen, I'm going to be able to see what I did not pick up from Season of the Lost. See, if you haven't pulled all of this stuff out yet, you can actually just leave it in here, and then you're going to have something that looks like this. So here I've got Season of the Splicer, and I've got an exotic Engram that I can pull. I think I pulled all my golf balls from last season just because those tend to get used a little bit more. But I've basically got some exotics, and you can see unclaimed. I've got some random legendaries. I'm probably going to claim those for my other characters. Random weapons that I'll probably break down because I'm sure they're not going to be too amazing, but a couple random things. So now is a good time to check your previous season. If you haven't picked anything up, then now's the time to make sure you clean it out. If you have things that you can possibly save for a future season, like I don't need a golf ball right now, but if you do go grinding for it and you've got a leftover one that you can pull out of just a website later on, it's going to be kind of valuable. So look and see what you have and have not pulled from your current season pass. See what you can leave in there for next season. And if there's anything in the previous season pass, pull it out, because when Witch Queen launches, your previous season is toast. The other main grind that you're going to be doing outside of the last one I tell you is going to be materials. Mod components, enhancement cores, golf balls, or Ascendant Shards, depending on what you call those, enhancement prisms, being stocked up on upgrade modules, and then planetary materials that are going to be staying around. Remember, etheric spirals are going away, but planetary materials are going to be staying around, and we don't know if we're going to need those for weapon crafting. Those are all things you're going to want to grind for. I've done a video over most of this stuff, like Banshee. He's got bounties. I'll show you guys a little bit later. Those are where you can get mod components and enhancement cores. You can do 4 per character per day. So in theory, you can get 12 enhancement cores and 24 mod components per day if you literally just do 4 quick bounties on each character. And all it usually involves is killing stuff with a weapon type, or something along those lines. So pretty easy way to get those. Golf ball's a little harder. It's going to be more end-game stuff, whether it's high-level Nightfalls or Trials of Osiris, depending on what you're doing. Prisms, there's quite a few options of ways to grind for those using, your Ghost and Strikes and other stuff that you can do. I've covered all that in a separate video. That link is going to be description. I'm going to title that one kind of as Materials Grind, so you guys will find that one below. But stocking up on materials is not a bad thing, because when you go into a new expansion, it's nice to be prepared, because we don't know what's going to be costing us. We're going to be upgrading stuff. We're going to be leveling up. And I'll do a little video the closer we get to Witch Queen as to, like, don't waste your materials upgrading, like what to expect on the first day, that type of stuff. But for now, just like start stockpiling so you've got a nice prepared, source of materials, so you don't have to, like, maybe for some reason we need planetary materials. It's going to be much better to have acquired it now as opposed to having to go grind it in the middle of like a campaign or something. So my advice is try and stockpile on some of this stuff now. You're not likely to get like a ton of this stuff, but if you got like 500 of each, if you get up to 1,000 of each, you're probably good. Like I have way too much of some of this stuff, but I've just been playing too long. So material grinding, I've got a full video breaking that down, the best possible methods that I've got ideas for that one. I don't need to repeat it all, but I wanted to give you guys a reminder. Material grinding, definitely something you want to do. Even something like legendary shards. This is just one of those things, if you're, playing a bunch of activities and getting a bunch of drops, most of which you won't keep, as you break those down, you're going to acquire legendary shards. Same thing. Just the more you're playing right now, some of this stuff will just naturally build up. Okay, before I go quickly into the bounty discussion, these are the bounties I was talking about for materials. Each one is going to be like, get kills with auto rifles, precision final blows, do a little bit more. Like, they're pretty basic bounties that give you 2 mod components and an enhancement core. So if you need to build up mod components to build up your arsenal of mods, this is a great way to do that. You can do a lot in like, 5 weeks. And then enhancement cores, this is a pretty consistent way to start building up your supply of enhancement cores, which I'm sure we are going to need. All right, so now let's talk about bounties. So the final big topic is going to be bounties, and you'll notice I've picked up quite a few. And the biggest thing I will say is this is optional, because it's up to you if you want to grind it out. You have 5 weeks. So you actually have a lot of time to spread this out and not just like, all right, 1 week to go, let me hammer out like 180 bounties between all these characters. That sounds insane. I'm just going to burn out before I even start the new season. But if you do a little by little, start building these things up and just not turning them in because you don't need to level up anymore this season, you can actually have some benefit. And the main place that it comes in is going to be the seasonal artifact. Now, we've learned from the last TWAB that we're going to be able to unlock more than 12 mods in Witch Queen. So you're going to be able to unlock 13, 14, 15, 16, theoretically all 25 if you play enough. I have no idea how hard that's going to be. But even if you get like 15 and you can get 2 in this column, and then now that you have 15, you get the last couple cool ones that you wanted to mess with, and then you don't have to reset all the time. Or if you do, it's much less frequently as you continue to unlock more stuff. So one, you're going to have access to the mods sooner in the season, whether you're going for a day 1 raid, whether you're trying to do the campaign on legend difficulty, which they said they're going to be doing, whether there's quests you got to do, whether there's high level. We don't know all the stuff that we're going to have to do, but the better access you get to something like next season's particle deconstruction or breach and clear. If there's that mod that's like a game changer for a weapon type, you're going to want that as fast as possible. So that's one of the reasons. The other is the fact that, yeah, you're also going to make some progress on your artifact bonus that is going to help you be a little bit higher level when it comes to all that higher difficulty stuff that you're working on. The day 1 raid is going to be contest mode, so that's only going to help to a point, but it will help you if you're like a smidge short. All of those types of things are the main reason people do bounties. Raid mode is going to have contest on, so again, you can't overlevel for it, but a legend difficulty activity, the higher level is going to benefit you there, so maybe doing that stuff is going to get you more pinnacles, more powerfuls, different weapon rolls, help you with crafting supplies, who knows. But all I'm saying, there is a reason for it, and the fact that now you can unlock even more mods, it's not wasted if you do it early, because then you'll have access to more and more mods as you go through the season. So the biggest thing when it comes to bounties is weekly bounties are worth the most. They're like 12,000 XP. Then you've got daily bounties, and those are the only types that you want to hold on to. Iron Banner bounties. If Iron Banner comes back, now granted, I saved these because honestly, I was not sure if I was even going to do them, and then I just had time this weekend. My wife, got sick, and she's better now. She's recovering. But the idea is I had some time to play, so I ended up knocking these out on all characters. Not something I would advise. But if they do one more Iron Banner, it's a risk to take an Iron Banner bounty to the next expansion. They could get wiped out. Who knows? But if not, you have theoretically a chance to get a decent chunk of XP. And you might get some of the new Iron Banner gear for Witch Queen, because they will have kind of put it in the game, and I've been lucky enough to actually pull some stuff before. It's very low risk because it's 4 bounties, but the possible reward payoff is worth it for me. So if Iron Banner comes back before Witch Queen one more time, even if you just do it on one character, you don't have to do it on all 3 like I did, but one character, it can have the benefits of getting you maybe some new cool gear or weapons that might be worthwhile, maybe a high stat piece of armor, something cool. So my suggestion, if it comes back, again, we haven't heard if it will, and it may not, but if it does, you can. But the weekly bounties are the ones you're going to be looking at, and you can get them from basically everywhere. One more piece as well. Any armor synthesis bounties you've got, finish them before you go into Witch Queen. That way you can get a clean, fresh start on your new 10 for that season. Don't leave any of these hanging over, because they're just going to take away from, your total that you can accumulate for each season. So, weekly bounties look like this. Bigger bounties, and you'll notice the rewards are XP++. XP++. This is an XP+. This is a daily bounty. Daily bounties are still good to hold on to, and they're going to help you kind of fill out your total. Notice down here, total quest and bounties. You can hold a total of 63. These also count. So if there's anything you don't need, like Corsair down, and then like the small gift, I may go turn on all those where I need. Some of these things you might have to, discard on like the last day of the season when you're totally done. Don't do these yet if you're still working on grinding, but like small gifts, I just need to go give these to the cats. The more of those, the more space you have here, the more bounties you can hold here. So you want your weekly bounties first. Cosmodrome from Shahan. Eris Morn, she's got 2. The Lectern, kind of the nightmare table next to Eris Morn. Varix, he's actually got quite a few different weekly bounties. So if you start accumulating the weekly bounties now, you can actually hold more than 2 because, like, Eris always has the same 2. But Varix on Europa has like 6 different ones. So if you start picking them up, and then next week maybe he has this one's a duplicate, maybe this is a new one, so then you'll have 3. So you want to get as many weekly bounties as possible right now as you're going through these weeks. The other thing to fill in the gaps that you're going to want are these. You've got the Vanguard, Crucible, Gunsmith, and also Gambit bounties. Now, why those specifically? Well, those are going to be for your weekly challenges, unless they just drastically change up leveling, which we don't know about yet. I will do a leveling guide for Witch Queen. Don't worry, it will come. But notice it's got those 8 bounties. You finish 8 bounties, and you get a piece of powerful gear. If you're holding on to 7 bounties, and the reason I say 7, there's this weird glitch when it comes to these main 4 vendors. If you turn in 8 bounties that are considered from like a previous season and somehow they're tagged that way, the powerful engram that would drop actually is not going to drop as powerful. It's going to drop as like old or very low. So you want to do 7 old bounties. And then once you get to the new expansion and you're doing stuff, then when you're ready for powerful gear, pick up 1 new bounty, and then you go do that activity, go do that 1 bounty, and then you'll be done with those. It's just an easy way to help speed up the leveling, but also an easy way to knock out this one because the bounties will already be done. And the nice thing about this is you've got Gambit, Gunsmith, you will have Lord Shax, but I did his this week, and then you also have Vanguard. So you're going to have, this is going to be 7 times 4, 28 bounties. So this is most of the dailies that you're going to need to pick up. If you need any other dailies after weeklies from all the vendors I talked about, and then the dailies from here, if you need any other bounties, well, just go pick them up from those that I just mentioned. You can get more Varix bounties, you can get more Nightmare bounties, more Eris bounties, more Cosmodrome bounties. And then if you fill up with all of those and you still are not full on a character, or you're running out of time and you just like don't have anything else you can pick up, you could actually go to Devrim K, get a few of his daily bounties. You could go to Nessus and you could get a few of her bounties right here, Failsafe. Those are the 2 vendors you can do. Do not pick up any bounties on the Dreaming City. They don't give that much experience for some reason, so avoid these. And then for the Tangled Shore, this whole destination's going away, so don't save any bounties from here. They're just going to be gone, so those will just get deleted. But you've got Eris bounties, Nightmare bounties, Shahan bounties, and then Europa. That's where you're going to find a lot of your weeklies, and then also the backup dailies if you need those. Main dailies that you want to stock up on: Vanguard, Lord Shax, Banshee, and the Drifter. Those are your main 4. Now, there's one other one I do want to mention. Clan. If you are not in a clan, I suggest finding one and joining one. It may not be your favorite clan, it may not be your final clan, but all I'm saying is like the benefit of the tier 2 powerful engram from the experience you're going to get, the engrams you can get for like leveling up and get random gear as you're just playing the game each week before launch, and then also just the fact that there are clan bounties that you can do. So if you get into an active clan and actually play with them, these bounties are actually worth just as much as the big weekly bounties from the other vendors. So if you have clan bounties that you can like start stockpiling as well, this is another one. I just know not everybody's in a clan, but I highly suggest joining a Discord. Mine is in the description of the video. Find people to play with, and a clan is one of the ways to do that. So if you have the space and you can start stockpiling the clan bounties as well, those are worth just as much as the weeklies, so those take precedent over any daily bounties. So overall for bounties, it's up to you, but it will help you on unlocking mods, give you bonus artifact power to work on those higher difficulty activities on Witch Queen. Your priorities are going to be the weekly bounties and clan if you got that option. Then your daily bounties from your main 4 tower vendors. And then after that, any daily bounties from anywhere else, except do not save any bounties from Tangled Shore and do not save any bounties from the Dreaming City. But I think that covers everything for bounties. That basically wraps this up. The last thing I will tell you is if you are taking any vacation for the Witch Queen launch, you've got 5 weeks to put that in, so hopefully this helps if you need to adjust any days. If you are doing any like normal 9-to-5 job situation, you're not taking extended time off, you're not like a content creator like us crazy people. If you're thinking about taking Tuesday off and it's going to take away from like, you know, your PTO or anything of that nature, My suggestion is don't. If you work 9 to 5, especially in America for our time zone, that's kind of why I'm saying this. If you work 9 to 5, Witch Queen is going to launch at like 9 a.m. Pacific, but it's going to launch at noon Eastern time. Servers are going to be a mess for probably hours, maybe. If it's smooth, it might be an hour or two, but you're not going to miss out on that much. It already launches in the middle of the day or mid-morning, depending on where you are. And there's also going to be server issues. So my suggestion is if you are going to take any vacation, take it on Wednesday onward. So you give your, like, knock your work out for the day, you know, get your initial stuff, you know, check out the first mission or two, get some sleep, and then you'll have that full Wednesday. Servers should have stabilized, and you'll have all day to play. Then if you got to go back to work on Thursday, then play more on the weekend, that's fine. But again, if you want one solid day and that's all you're kind of taking for the first initial launch, take the Wednesday, not the Tuesday, because you can play Tuesday after work, and then Wednesday can be a full day. That's your goal, so I just wanted to give you guys that piece of advice. People get annoyed and be like, I took vacation for this. I'm like, plan ahead. Don't take the Tuesday, because it's usually a mess, chaos, servers, all that stuff. Let all that stuff get worked out. Play the evening once you get done. You know, you'll be excited to get home. And then Wednesday, you know, get some sleep or stay up as late as you want, and then just play all damn day. That's the way I would recommend to do it. But that is just about everything I can think of for all of you guys. Now, this doesn't include stuff like farming Dares of Eternity, farming Grasp of Avarice, because, you know, those are things that are not leaving the game. What I tried to cover in this one is just activities that are actually leaving the game, going to be difficult to access. We don't know how we're going to get access to them. Random access to mods, weapons that are going to be harder to farm. All that stuff is, you have some fairly decent direct paths to, like, farm some of the stuff that you may want. So hopefully this guide gave you the information so you can prioritize these next 5 weeks. If you did enjoy the video, please drop a like on the video. If there's something major I forgot, drop a comment below. If I see a very common thread, I will put together like a little consolidated info post like in the pinned comment. So check that one before you start posting like the same thing that I see like 20 times. It might be in there. If there's no pinned comment, maybe I just haven't got to that yet. But if you guys did enjoy it, I do appreciate the support on the channel. It's been amazing. We cracked 70K, so thank you all. If you want to find me on Twitter, it's Ebontis for Twitch streaming, which I'm either going to be streaming on Twitch or right here on YouTube for Witch Queen launch. I haven't decided quite yet, but find me on there. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, thank you very much for those of you who have. But if you haven't yet, hit that sub button, hit the alert bell. I got still some more stuff coming, and you know Witch Queen's going to be a lot of guides. If you want to support me directly, you can join the channel as a member. You can also find my Patreon down below, or you can get one of my advanced GG shakers. Thank you very much. Have a good one. I'll see you soon.